Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today. However, something is already looking a little bit off, as we have got in the top right, it's going to be Deimos, the Protoss bot. And taking on Deimos is Evil Zoe, but Evil Zoe may just have a simple misname, but it is saying build macro ZVZ. All I can say is, Evil Zoe, where is the other Zerg? It's a PVZ. So we'll just have to see if Evil Zoe gets taken by surprise with this one. But yeah, a PVZ, but more importantly, a bot versus bot match we have here today. In these bot games, the rules are a little bit different because it's impossible to program a bot that's 100% adaptive. But these guys have done a pretty darn good job of making some lethal killing machines. Deimos in particular, it's known for being incredibly aggressive and just sort of climbing its way to the top of the ladder. So we're going to see how well Evil Zoe does against that today, as we've got multiple gateways, pylons, well, one pylon, cybercore on the way for Deimos, just building in its main before getting up an expansion. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, make sure to go ahead and click that like button if you haven't already. If we could hit, I don't know, it's Halloween today, I believe, so let's go for 31 likes on this video. If we could do that, that would be amazing. Let me know in the comments down below. Say more bots, or let me know what your favorite Halloween candy is. For me, I think it's probably Reese Cups, I'd say. But then again, you never know. It's one of those things, like, sometimes you'll just get like a piece of candy from your childhood that'll just take you back. But I think Reese Cups, but then that's just a good candy all around. Halloween in particular, I do like candy corn, at least a little bit of it. Now we have got a Stargate on the way for Deimos. One Adept moving on out on the map. Probe scouting out as well. Deimos is known for putting on aggression pretty much from the very start of the game to when it ends. So we're going to see how this Adept does, whether it can bully Evil Zoe a little bit. The one Probe scouting out is just kind of teasing Evil Zoe a little bit. The Probe then runs to the safety of the Adept. And we've actually got a Void Ray on the way for the Protoss bot to start this off. So no Oracle, which is a little bit surprising, but the Void Ray can be very useful, prevent counterattacks, kill Overlords, and do Void Ray stuff, you know. We've got Metabolic Boost on the way for Evil Zoe. The Red Zerg is notably still mining gas and getting a Roach Warren on the way, so it's not just going for some crazy massling strategy. As these Zerg bots, they tend to rely on their roaches quite a bit. Meanwhile, for Deimos, we do have a Twilight Council on the way behind the Void Ray. I'm guessing it's going to be Resonating Glaives if I was a betting man, because Deimos does enjoy its Adepts. However, these bot authors, they program in so many different builds and strategies into their bots. It really is genuinely hard to keep track of. That Adept gonna kill off that tumor, and then just get bullied a little bit. We did have that Void Ray actually kill one of the Overlords. Resonating Glaives is now on the way for Deimos. We'll see if Evil Zoe is up to stuff when it comes to defending this. We do have drones being made, queens being produced. As long as it starts making units in like the next 30 seconds here, I imagine it should be fine, as long as it doesn't fall into that over-droning trap that Zergs have been falling for since the dawn of time. And now we've got Burrow on the way for Evil Zoe, so that could be very helpful. Prevent roaches from being killed, or the drones could simply just burrow to avoid Adepts, and that is a very valid strategy. Now, Lings are still scouting all over the place. One Adept is still poking on the front. Nothing crazy, but the fact that Burrow is being researched could be really big when it comes to defending any potential Adept aggression. Now, there's how many Adepts out? There's currently 8 Adepts out. I imagine they should be moving across the map relatively soon, because these adept timings, they don't get any stronger. As time goes on, it's just better to move out now. So Deimos is crossing the map, warping in more and more adepts, making use of warp gate, which isn't something that every bot does, but it does actually have a slower cooldown than if you just build the units through gateways. So these adepts, they are now crossing the map, and Evil Zoe has got to get ready for this. It is going to primarily be a queen defense. Burrow is about 10 seconds from completion. That could potentially save the lives of many drones. We do have one of the queens being caught off of creep. Adepts are now starting to shade all over the place. This is the thing that makes adepts so scary in the hands of a bot. They can just micro those shades all over the place, non-stop. They're not in macro at the same time. The drones are running back and forth. They could burrow at this point. We'll see if Evil Zoe has got that programmed or not. The roach burrows to stay alive. Mining time is being lost. We do have drones burrowing at the third base to stay safe, though. Queens and roaches are skirmishing with the adepts. Lots of mining time is being lost if we do pull that up. Evil Zoe, yeah, it's barely mining at all because of adept presence in all of its bases. Queens and roaches are trying to clean this up. What units have gone down? Lots of drones, lots of lings. So despite making use of burrow, plenty of economic damage has been done by Deimos. Looks like these roaches and queens are trying to push back these adepts. Evil Zoe may just be crumbling. However, 1-1 upgrades are on the way. That would help out. But look at that. Yeah, just 1 adept, 2, 3 adepts as more and more shade on in towards that base. Evil Zoe is at 31 workers and needs to get these adepts out of its base for good. Behind this, Deimos is macroing up. It's even moving out with a stalker follow-up blink. +1 on the way behind this. We'll see if Evil Zoe can hold on. It's fallen down to 27 drones. That is not looking too good. But most of the adepts are cleaned up. As I say that, though, they're still just shading all over the place. It just goes to show how much of a killer Deimos is, taking a strategy done by humans and making it more terrifying. Like, if I was a Zerg player and I was trying to keep up with this, it just wouldn't happen. I wouldn't be able to out-micro this. And so we are seeing Deimos, or Evil Zoe, pardon me, try and push back Deimos on the front. Stalkers are microing back. Some actually blink forward aggressively. Roaches can still just burrow to stay alive. So not many roaches have actually died, but they are being forced underground pretty quickly. We've got 23 drones left for Evil Zoe as it struggles to deal with these adepts. 44 drones have gone down in total. The roaches, I mean, they're getting some efficiency, but they are just getting forced underground as soon as they unburrow, pretty much, it seems. And so Evil Zoe's production really has cratered. There's no mining at the third base anymore. Those drones, they can't burrow fast enough to avoid resonating glaive adept shots. Deimos is just coming in for the throat as we see more stalkers and an immortal even crossing the map. Supplies, it's 20 supply to and 14 drones. Well, 20 army supply, 14 drones to 60, 55. It is looking like it is over for Evil Zoe. And ladies and gentlemen, now would be the time that I reveal that this is indeed going to be a 2-part video. So as soon as this game's over, we'll jump into another match. But this is, I think, an average ladder game for Deimos, it seems, in which it just goes for the kill so quickly. Within that, like, 8-minute mark, it's got the game in the bag. And so I'm curious to see how bot authors are going to adjust to Deimos, because I think there's still some that need some updates to deal with this kind of thing. As the bot meta continues on, we do have, yeah, just Deimos cleaning house, though, and we will load into the next game. All right, here we are in the next game. It's going to be potentially another cheeky Protoss, as it's Zena taking on Eris. Eris, of course, the top macro Zerg, the GOAT, as far as bots go, I think. It's been at the top for as long as I've been casting bot games, really. And then Zena, a bit of a reputation to it, being a cheeky random bot, which is very impressive. The bot author's doing almost 3 times as much work to program 3 times as many builds. I'm a big fan of Zena, but unfortunately I don't get to cast it as much because its games tend to be shorter or almost a little predictable, I'll say. Because you can kind of infer the way a game goes. Like, if it's a longer Zena game, which is better for YouTube, it's honestly not the best game to cast, because then you know, like, oh, Well, if it's Stalker all in, just kind of lingered outside of the opponent's base for 20 minutes. You can guess that. Zena does have, however, some more macro-focused builds, and that's why I do still enjoy casting it. We have a cannon on the way, interestingly enough. A single cannon into double gas, as it is going to be a one-base Tempest play, which has about a 50% win rate against Eris. It says 23 to 21, which I can only assume is win-loss. But then it says 71%, so I don't know if that's the odds of it picking that build, or what. Or the win rate, because if that's the win rate, and that's not right, I don't think. It's just over 50%, not 71, so I wonder what's going on there. That's probably the odds of it picking that build, I'm guessing, because yeah, that if we look at these other builds, those percentages aren't right either, I don't believe. Anyway, we're going to see a crazy one-base Tempest build from Zena. If you're going to bring down the best macro Zerg that defends against most timing attacks, I think Void Ray shenanigans are a surefire, or Tempest shenanigans are a surefire way to go about that. Zena can potentially open up this way and then macro behind it as well. So we'll see how well Eris can deal with that. Eris does have an Overlord scouting the natural base. It's going to say, what's going on here? The Overlord will fly on in now. It's potentially going to fly over a cannon. I'm curious to see if that's the case. Nope, it does indeed turn around to safety. And then that Stargate's still just building away. Zena is building up lots of Chrono Boost energy as well. That is going to allow it to just Chrono Boost out a Tempest as soon as it starts producing them, which will be important. And another thing to touch on with these builds is that one basing is stronger in these bot games because you have a higher income off of one base, which means those timings when you try to do a one base, it's like, oh, it seems like you can be waiting forever for whatever tech to have enough money to build tech. Meanwhile, Zena definitely has afforded more than a regular Protoss can because of the speed mining. It's been able to build tons of cannons, tons of batteries to defend its main base, which I find interesting that the bot authors programmed it to invest so much in defense, whereas a lot of these bots kind of just don't invest in defense early on. But I guess Zena is just saying, right, just going to be safe. I got the extra minerals, probably from the speed mining. There is now an Oracle on the way out. There's the Tempest now being chrono boosted, so this build has had a lot of thought put into it. We even have Tectonic Destabilizers on the way to potentially kill spores and stuff much quicker. Now, I don't know what alarm bells are going to be ringing for Eris, but it is going to be on the receiving end of some aggression real soon. That Tempest being chrono boosted out. Full steam ahead. We do have... Is this build just going to come together so perfectly? Because that cannon, it's 7 seconds away. The Tempest is, yeah, just about that. So the no supply block going to hit Zena too hard. There's one Tempest on the way out, a second one on the way out behind it. We have got, I believe that was a Ling that just got deleted by that Tempest. I don't know if Eris is aware or really has a proper response program to this. It is getting up a layer though. Making drones, making queens, at least it's not making roaches or anything, or lings to deal with Tempest. But now that Tempest is crossing the map, that Ling might have not even seen the Tempest, so it might not have processed what happened to it. It was just dead in a second. Zena is spending even more of its minerals on more cannons, more batteries, that kind of thing. Another Tempest is being chrono boosted out behind this, and that's another dead scouting Ling, so scouting has kind of been denied, so Eris is a little bit in the dark. We're now going to see that Tempest start shooting away. We see Zena saying tag enemy burrow upgrade. There is an Oracle with this though, so that can potentially reveal these units. The Tempest staying out of range of the Queen, pulls it off a creep and is going to set to work on that. Now Eris is producing lots of roaches, potentially for a counterattack, but Zena does have a boatload of cannons and batteries inside that main base, so I don't think Eris is getting up the ramp. I was curious if we are going to see an expansion from Zena though, and there is, so I love to see that. Nothing better than following up a cheese with some macro. You gotta have your mac and cheese. Now the two Tempests are shelling away. They're not dealing too much damage to these buildings just yet. I mean, Tectonic Destabilizers was researched, so I guess they will actually deal more damage, but they're busy shooting Overlords right now. Queens are coming into the main base to try and respond to this. We did have a Stasis Ward get put down by the Oracle. Very cool play. One Roach is going to tank that shot. Meanwhile, the Tempest They had one of those queen threats removed. Eris is going for a counterattack on the other side of the map. This Nexus will be threatened. There is another cannon and a battery on the way, but that's not going to be enough to stop this counterattack. So I think Zena will be knocked back to one base. Tempest are still pulling back. Queens are being shot down. Eris is really just flooding roaches. That's its plan. Counterattack and kill its opponent. And saying, right, you're just going to die now, but these cannons and batteries, they're going to have some good work to do. Overcharge already popped. Cannons can just delete these roaches pretty darn quickly. The battery overcharge is keeping these units alive. Zena even pulling probes off the line, taking this threat very seriously. On the other side of the map, Tempest are still shooting down queens, but more of them are being produced, and progress is slow with these Tempest rushes. That's the weakness. Now, with that Teutonic Destabilizers, they did kill that hatchery rather quickly. There is 3 Tempest out now, and they are going to start shooting Overlords, it looks like. At the natural base, that's still under threat. 2 Tempest are in the main base shooting away on this. Zena's defensive instincts are a little too strong, though, as it pulls probes into those roaches when it really doesn't need to. But that's just the overlying behavior. The roaches are now trying to get through the wall. They take down the forge. There's no more battery overcharge, but the cannons are still doing tons of work. Tempest in the skies are shooting away. Looks like a bunch of these cannons are going to be depowered, though 3 of them remain, and the main has been compromised. Meanwhile, the Tempest are just making slow progress still inside the main. I mean, Eris has got multiple bases up still, producing lots of stuff. The battery overcharge is saving these last cannons from the roaches. There's so many roaches, though. Eris is just a macro machine. I now see why Zena has a program to build this many cannons, because evidently it wasn't even enough. The Tempest and the main base are still causing problems. Eris is at least supply blocked quite heavily. Well, it was, till some more Overlords finished up. But, like, yeah, Zena's main base, it may just die. These cannons are staying alive, which is important. There's 2 left because they're the only detection for Zena. Zena has 1 probe left alive and not enough money to rebuild anymore. So if that probe dies, that signifies the end of the macro for this game. Zena is still working away on the main base. It's going to kill that off. But, like, Eris is still making drones and roaches. Zena's taken so darn long. Says, you look busy, I'll come back later, but in reality, it needs to kill its opponent. The batteries are going to get another overcharge as the Nexus still stands. The Tempest are trying to help out, but they're kind of just useless in this scenario. They fire so darn slowly. They both have 9 kills, funnily enough. And the roaches, they're just working away on all these structures. The cannons, they don't have a battery overcharge to heal them anymore. The batteries are out of juice. It's like a couple of these roaches are potentially going down amidst all this chaos, but there's just so many for Eris. Eris is just counterattacking and killing, so while it looked like Eris didn't have a proper response to this cheese, the response is just kill your opponent, apparently. And I can't believe that Zena actually needed more cannons in this case. There's 1 cannon remaining. The buildings are going down. It could be in an elimination here. Eris keeps getting supply blocked. It's not mining at its natural base, but look at this. It's got a gold up. It's expanding again. It just ignores the problem and keeps making more roaches. And yeah, Zena has only a couple buildings left. There's just not much left at all. And I do believe that Eris is going to take this one just with a crazy counterattack. I mean, maybe Zena needed a couple Void Rays to help out with this, but it does go to show that Eris isn't just good macro. It is incredible decision making by the bot authors to program things like this. Well done to them. Zena, I love the cheese. It just maybe needed a few more cannons on that high ground, and then it would have been fine. I thought that was enough, but apparently not. That really was a crazy game, though. I could watch matches like that all day. And ladies and gentlemen, if you watch to the end of this game, make sure to go ahead and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Click that like button if you haven't already. Give it a click, give it a slap, and leave a comment down below saying more bots if you do want to see more of these bot games. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning in.